Hello there, everybody. I am Alexa the Meh, and today I am doing something slightly different, but that I've been wanting to do for a few years now, and that is to start making book-related content. So, as some of you may know if you have been following me for a while, is that I really do love reading. It is a hobby of mine that I just really, really love to do, but I often don't find time to do it. I've been doing pretty good the last few years. Last year I read 20 books, the year before that 19. And so my goal this year was to read another 20 books. We are, of course, late into July at this point, and as I was reassessing that goal at the end of June, I realized I had read a whopping 2 books so far this year. So those books were, one was an audiobook of Atomic Habits, which is a very nice little self-help book. I would recommend it. I heard great things about it. I'm not the biggest fan of self-help books in general, so I was a little bit wary. But it got recommended so much, I was like, all right, you know what? I'll check it out. So I got the audiobook and I listened to it while I was driving, and it was pretty good. I actually would recommend it. Of the self-help books I have read throughout my life, which is a short list, I would say it was one of the more beneficial. There are a lot of good ideas in there that I think could be adapted and utilized by many different people with many different purposes. So it was quite good. The other book I read was a physical book. It was the first in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. The first book is called Eye of the World. Now, this is one of the reasons why I haven't read as many books this year, I will say. It is a long book, and sometimes, you're just like in the mood to read, and other times you're not in the mood to read, and sometimes you're just takes a while to get through books. I don't know if other people relate to that, but even if you're really enjoying a book, you really like it, sometimes it just takes me a long time to finish it. That was the case with The Wheel of Time, or Eye of the World. I started reading it end of last year, and I did not finish it until May of this year. And I did really love it. I'm looking forward to reading the other books in the series. I had watched the first 2 seasons of the show alongside my dad, who has been a fan of the Wheel of Time series since they started coming out. My dad is the ultimate nerd, in case anyone does not know that. So shout out to him. He's spectacular. He has like any fantasy book that was made big by a TV show in like the last many years, he's been reading those books since they were coming out. Like, he was ahead of the trends. So because of watching season 2 of the show, which I liked a lot more than season 1 personally, I was motivated to read the first book, and I did really like it. I own the first 3 books. My dad bought me a little box set of the first 3, so I am looking forward to hopefully reading the rest of the series as well, given time. So I'm here end of June realizing I have read a whopping total of 2 books, and kind of assessing and figuring out, okay, is there any way I can read 18 more books this year? Well, I was at Barnes & Noble about 2 weeks ago with my husband, who has been going to those to find some of his Criterion Collection items that he has on a list that he wants to complete. So, they had the 50% off sale recently, so I went with him to go take a look there. While there, I saw a sign saying they had a buy one, get one half off romance books. Now, romance books are notoriously ones that I will pick up and plow through. That was not meant to be a pun, but take it as you will. And so I was like, you know what, this could be a great way for me to kind of jump back into it, get back into reading more often, because now it's been about 2 months since I finished even The Wheel of Time, and I finished Atomic Habits like very early this year, so it has been a while since I have finished a book. So let's buy 2 little romance books and I can take a look. So I look through the shelves and I find 2 books that I know very little about. One I bought purely because of the author plus the cover, and the other one I bought because of the core concept I thought was cool. So the 2 books that I got were Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren and Desperate Measures by Katie Roberts. Now, again, I knew very little about these 2 books going into it, but in those 2 weeks since buying it, I have finished both of them. So after I finish up doing a little bit more talking, I will be discussing my thoughts on both of these books, because I finished Twice in a Blue Moon in less than a week, and I finished Desperate Measures in 3 days. So I will be talking about my thoughts on both of those, just after a little bit more chatting. alongside of getting these two books to kind of jumpstart myself back into reading, I also was assessing my bookshelf, or our bookshelf, if I want to be correct now, because I am married. And there are over 40 books that we own that I have not read. And that isn't even a technically full complete list because we are still settling into our home together, and we both have some books at our parents' houses that have not made their way to our house yet. All the ones at my parents' house that I'll be getting, I have read, but there is a whole bookshelf of books from his parents' house that I don't even know all of the books on there that I will be joining our collection and I have not read. So the list may grow, but to start off, I have over 40 books that I have not read, 45 to be exact, in our bookshelf. And so I have decided to start a little series where I have put all of those books onto a wheel that I will spin, and that will determine what book I read next. So I'll be doing that at the end of this video, so make sure to stick around. The book that it lands on, I will be reading, and feel free to read along with me. Once I finish it, I will be creating a new video where I talk about that book and spin the wheel to get another one. Now again, I am really trying to get back into reading and find a way to get a healthy balance of reading into my schedule. Now these two books I powered through. I read them way too often. I ignored other things that I normally do and was just reading books. Now that is not practical to keep up with. My husband has watched like 4 different movies without me the last 2 weeks as I've been off reading, and I'm upset about missing 2 of those movies. So, I need to start watching more movies again, and I need to watch TV shows, and I need to also do all my responsibilities in life. So, I don't have time to read books at the rate that I have read these 2 books. However, I really enjoyed giving myself a sort of like 2-week book break. I won't say book break. I was still working full time at my job and doing other things, but a little bit of a break in my free time where I didn't do as many other things and just kind of relaxed and read. And I really enjoyed that. So that is something I want to make sure to fit into my life in a more healthy and manageable amount to kind of keep me on that goal and not have a situation where I take 5+ months to read another book. I have shortened the list for this initial wheel to the top 10 books that I am most excited about reading on my bookshelf. As we go, as I spin and check items off of the wheel, I will be adding in more books. So it may not always be only 10. I might be expanding it, make it larger. I'll kind of see how the series goes, and I will continue to expand and add as necessary. I may buy more books. I may add more books because we get some from my husband's parents or whatever else happens that makes it so I have more books on the list. I will be, adding those in. And so they'll may grow to more than 10. I may keep it at 10 and just once one comes off, put one back in. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to see how it goes and see how I feel about it. And that's how we will go from there. One thing I've always wanted to be able to say is I have read every book in my bookshelf. And so that is the real goal of this series is by the end of it, will have read every book in my bookshelf, and I'm really excited about that prospect. Even though there are a couple books on the bookshelf I'm not as excited about, it'll be intriguing to, challenge myself and read those anyways. All right, enough about the plans. Now let's talk about some books. So the first of the 2 books that I read was Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. So I have read 2 other books by Christina and Lauren because they are actually 2 different people, if you did not know. They are 2 best friends who write books together. And I mean, firstly, goals, absolute goals. But yeah, I read 2 other books by them. I read The Unhoneymooners, which I quite enjoyed. It was a fun, like enemies to lovers trope. You gotta love it. And the other book I read by them was Love in Other Words, which is actually one of my favorite books I have read in my adult life. So they're someone I look out for whenever I do look at books. I am intrigued to read more by them because now I've read 3 of their books and I have liked all of them and loved one of them. So they are definitely someone I will be keeping my eye on every time I go into the bookstore. This book is from, I believe, 2019, and I didn't know anything about it. I honestly picked it up because I thought the cover was pretty. It's like shiny gold and blue. And one thing I realized as I was looking at the book before starting this video is navy blue and gold were actually the color scheme for my US reception for my wedding. So I like the color scheme. So I think that maybe subconsciously drew me to this book. And I'm happy that I did because I very much enjoyed it. Twice in a Blue Moon starts 14 years ago and has a few chapters about that time in our characters' lives, Tate and Sam. Tate being our main character that we see the whole story through, Sam being the love interest of the tale. So it starts out, they are on a trip in London, her with her grandmother, him with his grandfather, and they meet for the very first time. He is from a farm in Vermont, and she is from a small town in California. They very quickly fall head over heels for each other. Just some cute little youngins in love, 18, 21, just learning about the world, and they just fall head over heels for each other, these two. It is very sweet, very romantic, and very enjoyable. I love people falling in love. I'm a sucker for it. Why I like romance books, and they do a really good job with it. But then something happens. I'm not going to say what because I don't like spoilers. But 14 years go by and they have not seen each other in those 14 years. Tate is now an up-and-coming actress. Sam has moved on with his life, and they meet again under surprising circumstances. And the story then follows them as they sort of rediscover each other. They hash out the things that happened that made it so they did not see each other for 14 years, and they see if they are able to reconnect. Can they move past the things of their past in order to I did not prepare this, if you cannot tell, as I'm repeating words and stumbling, but I thought I'd be able to do it off the top of my head more eloquently. That was a really wrong assumption of me to make. And so the two, though, they have to figure out if they can make it. You know, is there too many things that have happened in the 14 years? Is there too many things that happened at the end of their time together in London that make it so they can't last? Or were they meant to be? I don't know. Find out. Read the book. I really enjoyed it. So if you like romances, I would absolutely recommend. The spice level in this book is a little bit on the lower side. Now, this is my first book video. So in case someone is watching this as a fan of me and not someone who follows book videos, I'm going to say it in this one really clearly. Spice level equals the amount of sexual content, okay? I'm just going to put it out there. This was very mild. There were some sex scenes in it, or some spice scenes, as people say, to not get demonetized. I will be only using that word probably in future videos, but since this is my first one and there might be some people who are not as familiar with this type of content checking this out, I wanted to make sure to explain so no one's like, what does spice mean? And then has a regrettable search history or anything like that. So, but this one is more on the mild side. There are some scenes, but not many, and they are nothing crazy. There's no, it's very, I would say mild. It's not none, but it is on the milder side of things. Now, that may be a little skewed by the next book I read, which is much higher on the spicy scale. I think it is actually the spiciest book I have ever read. Not that that's a bad thing, but definitely I knew it was going to be a bit spicy. I had heard of this author before, her Dark Olympus series, but I had never read one of hers. What drew me to this book was, so this is from the Wicked Villains series that she has, as it says here, a Wicked Villains novel, which is a series that follows sort of the Disney movies, like the villains of those movies and the princesses having romances. I would say very much so it is inspired by, not based on the story, besides like the core characteristics of the people. That's about as far, and the names being familiar is about as far as the similarities go. Now, this one is, of course, about Jasmine, and Jafar, who is Jafar. And it is a very spicy book about the two of them. There's a lot of power struggles, we'll say. And I mean, I swear, like the first 100 pages, there was something spicy on like every single page. Of the like 250 pages that this book is, or 242 pages stacked around, and there is some bonus material, which I'll talk about in a second. I think, yeah, largely over half, like probably like 2/3 of it pages are spicy content. It was well done though. It was very enjoyable. It's, it's definitely falls into those tropes, and it uses them and it does well at it. There is the one that the only thing I'm negative I would really say is that it goes as like the daddy thing, which I'm not a fan of personally, but that's a personal thing, not an issue actually with the book. But to say, I feel like I have to give a quick warning to anyone. There is actually a warning at the start of the book. Content guidance. where, this, it says here, is a work of spicy contemporary romance that contains consensual non-consent and explicit sex, as well as there's some violence, guns, there's like a bunch of stuff. This is like, it's like this criminal world of Carver City is the city's name, and Jafar has just made a power play, making him very the head of a territory that was previously belonged to Yasmina's father. And so he sort of like takes her captive a bit at the beginning. A lot of power struggle in this, her not wanting to be a pawn in someone's game, him wanting to have control and be the most powerful there is, but maybe learning a lesson that power isn't the most important thing. Now, this version of the book that I got is a deluxe edition. It has some artwork in it, as well as some footnotes from the author and bonus content in the back. Now, these footnotes, I would say, are good for a second read. They were not great for the first time reading it. And it does say at the beginning that like it's her thoughts for readers who really love it, like picking up, there's a forward at the beginning, which I've read. So it's definitely like these are for people who are rereading the book. She makes that clear. But yeah, I stopped reading them after a few pages in, because like at one point even it's like, is someone's dead? And then the caption at the bottom says, even though they're dead. And so I'm like, oh, okay, so they are dead. And we find out only a couple pages after that they were dead, but it still was just like a little bit jarring. So after that, I did stop reading the annotations. I might go back and read those now. I've read a couple randomly throughout just because my brain was curious, but I did not read them as often. They were really fun inserts, kind of just the author's thoughts as she reread the book after a while of not having read it. And it was cool to see that, and I'd be intrigued to reread those a bit more. Now, the bonus content at the end was quite fun. There were some additional stories, like proposal, an apology from a character, and also the kink questionnaire filled out by our two leads, Yasmina and Jafar, which was really interesting. So they have like a full little thing in the back for that. And I don't know if I can even show all of the words that were just on that. I may have to blur what I just showed. I mean, I think that tells you all you need to know about the kind of book this is. So if you like that kind of thing, I would say that this is an exceptional example of it. It's well written, it's very steamy and spicy, and it's quick read. It's 242 pages, and so you can really just get on through it and learn the whole story, and it's just a fun time. I don't always read that kind of story. I'm definitely not opposed to it, and I would be intrigued to read more of what she has in this Wicked Villains novels, as well as some of her others, like the Dark Olympus series, which I know has gotten a lot of praise. It's about the different gods and such, like neon gods. I've seen a lot about. I don't really know much. I try not to learn too much about books that I have a vague interest in, because then I like to just go in with as little knowledge as possible. Like, I don't even read the entire backs of books before I read them. If I had have for this one, I probably would have realized how spicy it would have been, because it does say here spicy kink inventory right at the bottom. But I choose not to read the back so I can go in a little bit more unaware and just allow the story to unfold as it wants to. Like, even this one, it says 14 years later, some key things in here that would have probably given away a few things for me. Similarly with movies, like whenever I watch something on streaming, unless I'm really unsure about it, as long as I've like heard vaguely what it is, I won't read the descriptions on the streaming service for movies. I'll just watch them. But that's also partially because like certain films, like Indian movies, they'll often put the climax twist in that description there, and climax twists are huge surprises in a lot of those movies. And while it is only halfway into the movie, by climax twist I meant intermission twist, or intermission climax. I realize I said that wrong, but they'll give that away. And so sometimes they'll give that away in some of these too. Like the 14 years later is the good first, how many pages of this book? Boop, boop, boop. So it's the first 118 pages of this book is 14 years ago. And then it jumps to now. And so, this says a little bit more like about the 14 years later. And again, it doesn't give away too much, but I'm happy I went in knowing as little as I did. And I had some trust in the author previously that made me feel comfortable in doing that. And the other one, I really like Disney stuff. So it was intrigued to see this unique take on the story. Now, this is my first time ever doing a real like book review like this, so hopefully I will get better at these as we go. So now I'm gonna add these two books back on my shelf as ones I have read. And it is time to find out what will be the next book that I have read on our bookshelf. So let's pull up this wheel and give it a turn, huh? So I know I said 10 books were going to be on the wheel, but as I just went to quickly shorten my list from 45 to 10, I only made it down to 20. There's a lot of books I'm really excited about reading, so yeah, we're going to spin on this wheel of 20 books. Let's spin. Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So I know she has some really big books, and I have not yet read one of hers. So this will be intriguing. Her big books are the Love Hypothesis, I think, is the really big book by Ali Hazelwood. She has quite a few that I know have blown up and done quite well. And oh, is it? 1 second. I heard something. Oh. The book we need. My new magic locker. So, Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Now, this is our Love Theoretically. That's it. A Love Hypothesis is the other one, and I think in that same series. So, this is also a pretty spicy book, I believe. From what I know about it, I was kind of hoping to get something a little less spicy coming off of Desperate Measures, but you know, hey, I'm all right with it. Let's go ahead, see how long it takes me to read this book. I will take that one off the wheel, and we'll have to add another one back on for next time we do this. And was it next week? I don't know. Maybe I'll have it done in a week. We'll find out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like if you did. And if you saw all the books on that wheel, let me know if there's any you're really looking forward to me reading. I know one of my top ones on the list. There's a lot of great ones here. One of my top ones I really looking forward to reading is Carrie by Stephen King. I have a few Stephen King books on here. I think 3 total I left on. 4. But I love Stephen King's books, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading more of those. But all right. Bride those up first. So thank you for watching my first ever video where I talk about books on this channel. Only books. I've had videos where I talk about them, but not exclusively like this. So I look forward to making more. We'll see what other books can come out of that magic locker back there. Crazy how seamless that was, y'all. For this first one also, let me know what's your favorite book you've ever read. I don't know mine. I'll think about that and I'll have that answer for you next time. If you want to hear me talk more about books or play games or do random other stuff, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, and also make sure to follow me on Twitch, link in the description. I have recently seen some people who go live and they'll just like be reading while they have a sort of like screen on and are chilling. So I might start doing that, just some chill reading streams. Like I'll read a chapter, chat with anyone in chat, and then go back to reading. I think that might be a fun way to balance streaming and reading more, because those are 2 things that I want to do more often. So yeah, let me know if you'd have an interest in watching that, and make sure to go follow me on Twitch if you do. I'll still be doing gaming content and other things like that as well, but this would be an additional type of content that I could start putting there for y'all. So I don't know, might be fun. All right, thank you so much for watching again, and as always, I hope you have a good night, good morning, and damn good time. Bye.